Finding a little further, the petition to cancel property taxes.
Yeah, I'll explain that real quick. That's common under Indiana law when a governmental entity owns real estate. Governmental entities don't pay property taxes. So obviously, there's always road projects, or traditionally when governmental entities do eminent domain to acquire right of way when they do road projects. So City of Jeff, this is one of their road projects when they acquire property through eminent domain. And if you understand Indiana law, there's always that 1 year lag period that taxes are in arrears. So when a governmental entity may acquire property through eminent domain for a road project, the taxes were already calculated in the portion that you're buying in the previous owner's name. So there's an Indiana code statute where you obviously just cancel those taxes when the government acquires property, but the portion that the government acquires.
So where is this exactly?
What do you mean?
This Jeep that they're wanting to cancel?
It's there in the packet.
I saw that, but I didn't know where it was. I couldn't make
I can't speak for City of Jeff. I mean, this is a statutory process, and by Indiana code, the treasurer, the auditor, and the assessor
Okay.
signs off on it. It's routine. Governments acquire right-of-ways all the time for road projects and bridge
Right.
projects.
Yeah.
So,
Danny, do you know where it is?
I don't recall now.
Parcel number's in the packet. It's exhibit
Yeah, I
D.
saw that. But we have to pay a fee now, right, to get on the GIS? Citizens do?
Shouldn't for a parcel number. You should be able to pan over and see the parcel number.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
you can get on as a guest and find the parcel number and it'll give you the address.
Okay.
The address is listed.
Okay. I saw that, but I thought I had to pay to look.
If I'm looking through these real quick, most of these look like Jeff, Charlestown Pike, and places like that they purchased for the road extension and
yeah,
stuff like that.
Jeff's doing a big
New
project.
Chapel
Yeah,
Road.
Charlestown, yeah,
it's
Charlestown.
all
Okay,
there.
good,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
That's all I had.
That'd just be their eminent domain right-of-way that they've acquired. for
All
the
right, that
project.
sounds good. I kind of figured, but I wasn't sure where it was. And oh, look, right on time.
All right. Thank you.
Hey.
That's all we got for public comment. Moving on to new business. First up is bridge number 400 Willinger Lane bid award. We opened those bids last week, and I'm assuming, Brian, you have a proposal or a recommendation for us.
Actually, I contacted United, who did the design. They reviewed it. I've reviewed it as well. Just the letter came from United first, and they said everything was in order, and I agree with that.
Okay. So the suggestion was to use E&B Paving. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And just for the record, E&B Paving's bid was $1,385,262. This is Bridge 400. This is for Willinger Lane. So I would entertain a motion, Jack, to approve the recommendation to use E&B Paving for Bridge number 400 Willinger Lane.
I make a motion to approve I make a motion to approve the bid from E&B Paving for the bridge project on Willinger Lane by the recommendation of United Consulting and the county engineer
And I will second that.
for $1,385,262.
And I will second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the contract with E&B Paving in the amount of $1,385,262 for the replacement of bridge number 400 in Willinger Lane on the recommendation from United Consulting and our county engineer. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 2-0. Next up is the 2025 LAO budget acknowledgement for the auditor's office.
Yes, so as you know, Lao is the company that provides the computer financial system in support for the auditor's office. So every year they give you an advance notice so you can budget appropriately because the budgets are done a year in advance. So this is their 2025 budget. Dollar amount for their license support and maintenance for their computer system and all the other support services they do for the auditor's office regarding that system. So their projected budget amount for their services for 2025 will be $170,731. So Lao, they request that the county acknowledge that they provided us their budget for next year.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the budget amount from Lao Associates for the budget for 2025 in the amount of $170,731.
And I'll second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to acknowledge that the total budgeted amount for 2025 from Lau Associates for the auditor's office is $170,731. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Next up is the Disaster Recovery Services Agreement renewal for the Recorder's Office.
Yeah, so this is a renewal for a one-year term for the Recorder's Office with Computer Systems, Inc., CSI, for amount, one-year term of $1,939.08. That's for them to provide those base cloud backup services for all the electronic files in the Recorder's Office.
Okay. And I'll note
And it comes
that,
from the Recorder's funds, I think you,
Correct.
yeah, it comes from the Recorder's funds, not from our funds.
and I'll note that term starts yesterday, July 1, 2024, and ends June 30, 2025. So just for the record.
I make a motion then to approve the disaster recovery services agreement between the Clark County Recorder's Office and CSI Computer Systems in the amount of $1,931.08 for the term of July 1, 2024 through July 1 of 2025.
I'll second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the contract between Disaster Recovery Services and Clark County, Indiana for 1 year of base cloud backup volume, term year being July 1, 2024, ending June 30th, 2025, in the amount of $1,939.08. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Next up is the Courson Inspection Services proposal for the building operations.
Yes, so Marion Shepard, our Director of Building Operations, as you know, there's required fire security inspection services required every year for the state. Building Operations always calls different companies every year because it's as needed. And this is the only company for this year when he's called that's responded for their availability to come out for this calendar year for 2024. So I think the service is done in, looks like it's due in August. So this is Corson Fire and Security. So their fee to come out to do the annual inspection is $608 as identified
Okay.
in the proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for inspection services by Corson Fire and Security with an annual amount of $608.
And I'll second that. There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the contract with Courson Fire and Security for the Clark County Judicial Center fire extinguisher services in the amount of $608. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 2-0. Next up is the Silvicon Engineering Consultant Agreement for Forestry Road culvert replacement.
Yeah, so this is a proposed contract. Apparently the culvert, which is also referred to under law as a small structure, the culvert is in need of actually being replaced, not just repaired. It's apparently old, and Brian may have some more information on the condition of that culvert. But this is a contract with Silvicon and his engineering consultants to do the design work and all the other related engineering services to design and prepare that project that I think would be put out for public bidding for that replacement. So their design engineering services, according to the contract, would be $62,000. And this is the Forestry Road culvert, so I don't know if you have anything to add, Brian.
The only thing is that culvert is very deep. We couldn't do it ourselves, even if we wanted to, just because of the depth of it. But it probably is going to be estimated well over $150,000, so we're going to bid it down. But the bottom of the pipe is starting to rot out.
And this amount is just for the design and engineering.
Just design. They will identify if there's any property acquisition, but they will not be preparing the documents. I don't think there's going to need to be any because it's going to be more or less replaced in kind.
I want to ask you a silly question. So is Forestry Road actually inside the forestry?
It goes into, if you go up to Henryville exit, and you take that road that goes back in there,
Yes.
and it goes back up to there. And so, yes, it is inside the forestry.
So it's our responsibility, that's not a responsibility? of
That
the
road is ours because there's people that live on that road. So it goes through the forestry, and there are
So
actually
this
residents.
portion is actually, I guess, in and outside of the forestry, and this is actually what you would consider a public road and our responsibility.
Right, it is ours. It's on our inventory as being part of our road. There are probably roads inside of there, or trails, whatever you want to call them, that are not ours. But this particular one goes through there, and it's people living on that. It's a public roadway.
Okay. I just thought
It's just
maybe it
called
was
Forestry Road.
state and or DNR, but okay.
It's like a frontage road along
More or less,
I-65.
yeah.
Okay, interesting, all right.
I'll make a motion then to approve the contract with Civil Con for design and engineering of the culvert on Forestry Road in the amount of $62,000.
I'll second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the design contract with Silicon Engineering Consulting for the Forestry Road culvert replacement in the amount of $62,000. Any more discussion? Will this come out of Cume Bridge?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 2-0. All right, next up is the OHM Professional Services Agreement, the MS4 Stormwater Program Support.
Yes, as you know, Clark County is required under IDEM's MS4 program. There's different requirements to comply with the permits and all the rules and regulations from IDEM since we are in MS4 County. This is one of those requirements regarding stormwater outfall mapping and screening throughout the county. So this professional service agreement with OHM would be in a not to exceed amount of $19,245 to provide those MS4 services regarding the outfall mapping and screening as required by IDEM.
Anything to add?
Like Scott said, we are required to do outfall. It's called dry weather screening. You actually screen these things when it's dry, like we have right now. You go out there and you find out if there's any water coming out of them. Then you grab the water. You got to take them, do samples, and test them to see if there's any contaminants in them. So that's something we're going to have to kind of budget for in the future to do these things on a regular basis.
I'll make a motion then to approve the contract with OHM Advisors for the stormwater outfall mapping and screening in the amount of $19,245.
And I'll second that. There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the proposal for stormwater outfall mapping and screening with OHM with a not to exceed amount of $19,245. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 2-0. Next up is a petition to cancel property taxes for the city of Jeffersonville.
Yes, as you know, this is a common procedure under Indiana code when Indiana governments own property and they typically acquire property through roadway projects when they acquire easements and so forth. And as you know, that governments are not taxed on property they own. So not only do you have to remove whatever parcel governments acquire under eminent domain law, but if there's any existing taxes, because Indiana is a year behind in taxes, so there could be a property tax bill, government does eminent domain to acquire an easement, and there's still taxes on that tax bill. So this is the common procedure to have the taxes canceled and to have that parcel removed from further tax billing. So as you know, as you see, this is a City of Jeffersonville request, and it looks like this is related to their the Jeff Charlestown Pike project.
Yeah, I noticed that some of them.
Yeah. So if you look at that, a lot of those parcels are like
Several.
small, like $17. So it's common. We do it for ourselves when we do eminent domain, Clarksville, whatever, Sellersburg, Charlestown.
I make a motion to approve the petition to cancel property taxes assessed against real property owned by the city of Jeffersonville.
I'll second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the petition to cancel property taxes assessed against real property owned by the city of Jeffersonville. And just for the record, the amounts are, I think, less than $2,500. There's one on there for $2,019.84. There's approximately 10 or 11 that are anywhere between $34 and $37.40. So a total of less than $2,500. So, any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. All right, that's all of our new business. Any old business? Seeing none, moving on to reports for department heads and officials. Mr. Auditor, anything tonight?
Nothing for tonight.
Mr. Attorney?
Nothing for tonight.
Mr. Dixon?
Just a couple things. Friday, we're doing stormwater training at the garage for the highway employees.
Okay.
Anybody can come to that, but it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. It'll probably be about 2 hours. And they're going to talk about, it's part of our requirements is to train our employees on stormwater awareness. And also the bridge crew should be working on, I need to verify, but if they're not working on it yet, they'll be working on it very soon. Lewis Smith culvert replacement that we're doing ourselves. That road will be closed down during the construction period. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. So we're doing that on July 5th,
Yes.
so we don't expect attendance to be really high then, right?
Tim asked that, and I said, well, I need to do the training. I'm offering the training, anybody who's there, but really what I did it for is because I didn't want to impact the paving crews, because of the fact that that day is not going to be a very busy day for them paving, because like you said, people aren't going to be there, plus it is a middle of the weekend type of thing, because it's got Thursday off, Friday and Saturday off, or Saturday, Sunday off, so.
Just giving you a hard time.
Yep.
Next
So
up,
it's
Sheriff's
intentionally done
Office.
that way.
Sheriff's Office. Good evening, how are you all? Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, tonight, we have 4 police vehicles that are county-owned vehicles. Basically paid with county budget funds that I would like to trade in. You'll see on there, there's a 2017 Charger, 2019 Charger, 2020 Dodge Charger, 2020 Dodge Durango, and 2021 Dodge Charger. Some of these are toward the end of their life expectancy. You can see the mileage of 127. You may see some of the smaller mileages on a Charger at 38,000. I'm trying to get some of these Chargers out of the fleet, as you may not know that they're going to stop making the Dodge Charger. This is the last year for it. So I see probably a significant drop in their value next year.
Okay.
So what I did is we typically would just trade these back into John Jones, because that's where we get the lowest bid, safe bid for our vehicles. But in full transparency, Bales also sells police vehicles too. So in essence, we could sell these vehicles to Bales as well and take that check and buy the Durango. We could buy one Durango with trading these 4 Chargers. It's outside the budget that was given to me this year. So we got a bid from Bales and we got a bid from John Jones. John Jones came in higher.
For the trade-in value?
For the trade-in
Yeah.
value, yes, they did. Now, the value still doesn't get me to enough to buy the Durango. I would still have to pay, looks like a little bit, almost $900 out of commissary, which I'm comfortable doing. And I don't know if you're aware, even on all vehicles that are purchased, even if they're purchased with county funds, all the striping and things like that, I pay out of commissary to try to ease the burden on the taxpayer dollars. So I'm asking for permission to trade these vehicles in to obtain one Dodge Durango, excuse me, I misspoke. And I've came to you in the past with similar requests to this. This is the first time that I've got an outside bid on, or not a bid, but basically an ask if they were interested in purchasing.
Basically, you're asking permission to proceed with the trade-in value that you received from John Jones.
Yes.
And real quick, Sheriff, the 56,000, is this the one from Bales?
Yes.
Okay, because it didn't have it. I just
I'm
want to make sure
sorry.
for the record, yeah.
Yeah.
They go by Bachman Oliver now.
Or
I'm-
Bachman.
yeah,
Yeah,
is.
I just want to put the record, since you solicited that, we want to make sure we're
Yes,
clear
I
on.
misspoke. It is.
That's all right.
It
So
is
it's the
Bachman.
Bachman Auto Group.
It is Bachman.
They were 56,000, and then you have the one from John Jones for 56,726 for the 5 vehicles.
Yes.
And I talked to Sheriff Maples probably a couple of weeks ago about this, and we kind of talked about making sure that we got a couple bids to make sure we get the best trade-in value. And I think the only thing we ended the conversation with, we want to make sure we get these off of our capital asset list and make sure Sarah knows about that. And then number two, make sure we get them off our insurance. So
Yeah, we have my fleet manager, Michael Wells, Major Wells will take care of that. As soon as they leave the facility, we're on top of that.
Sure.
Um,
anything else, Scott, that we need to be aware of?
No.
Okay.
So just obviously when the new vehicles come in, you'll coordinate. Sarah always handles the insurance, make sure.
Major Wells handles that.
Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah. I just wanted to identify what was what here. So the Bachman Group was 56,000 for the 5 vehicles. John Jones was 56,726 for the 5 vehicles. Make sure the record reflects that.
I'll make a motion then to approve the trade-in of the 5 vehicles, the 2017 Dodge Charger, the 2019 Dodge Charger, the 2020 Dodge Charger, the 2020 Dodge Durango, and the 2021 Dodge Charger with a trade-in value of $56,726 from estimate, from offer from John Jones to go toward the purchase of 1 new Dodge Durango.
Yes.
And I'll second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the trade-in of 5 police vehicles in the amount of $56,726 to John Jones, with that trade-in value to be applied towards the new Dodge Durango. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. All right. Have we had any issues? I know we've read some articles about some of the Dodge cars that have we had any issues? We ran into that?
No, the news called me, trying to get me on the news story. We purchased, I believe, since I've been sheriff, 7 Dodge Durangos.
Sounds about right. And those are I think it's the 3.6 liter Penstars that they're having trouble with. Is that what it is? Or-
We buy
the V8.
We buy V8s all-wheel drives because we drive in county conditions, so we need the all-wheel drive. So they may be driving. I didn't inquire on what the state police buy.
I got you.
They may be driving the ones that have the minivan engines in it.
That's what it is.
We drive the Hemis. So that could be the issue, but we haven't had any issues out of ours whatsoever. But we also only bought 7, not 500 or whatever it is.
Right.
So no, we've had no issues out of our Durangos. And I talked to our police officers, and asked them what's, they drive these things 12 hours a day, set them as their office. Previous administrations just kind of bought whatever was on sale, and, the Durango is by far the most desired police vehicle by our police officers across the board. I mean, it's been rumored that Dodge is gonna do away with the Durango in 2 years too, and go to another police vehicle, so, which kind of scares me, because the Durango, since the Crown Vic went away, has actually been the only really accepted vehicle for police officers since the Crown Vic. So it's kind of saddening that they're gonna do away with it.
Okay, awesome. Anything else tonight?
You always ask about the MX 451 with 30 feds.
Okay.
And then, I'd like to thank Leanne. We had a officer pass away, not, on duty or anything like that, on April 3rd, that had a life insurance plan with One America.
Yes.
And supplemental insurance plan. The family has been waiting and waiting to try to pay the funeral home, and One America's been fighting us tooth and nail on it, and up to the point that 2 days ago, we had to pull her a full year of her last year of
Time card
records.
that she worked here.
And she finally helped us get it done today, so I just want to.
Yeah, thank you, Leanne.
Oh, anytime, guys, it was a fight, and we really need to address that.
Okay.
So we'll be addressing it.
Is that one of our older
It is, sir.
That we don't use them
It is, sir.
anymore, correct?
Open enrollment is, we're just gonna have a different discussion.
It's still
Okay.
one of our choices.
Yep, several different choices. They've not provided our employees with the best service. What Morgan Maples and I went through to get this benefit paid,
Especially when they pay for this. This is a supplemental policy that they pay for.
the county pays for this. It's the basic life. The hoops that Morgan and I had to jump through, and if you've ever been on the receiving end or seen one of the emails from me that, you know, it's just time to pay up. It was just completely unnecessary, and we need to do better for our people, and we're definitely going to.
Okay. And I can tell you this, Miss Umbar who passed, her sister works as correction, her son works as corrections. They both have over 20 years' experience. It's, you know, corrections and law enforcement, it's kind of a different career. Sometimes it becomes a family matter. You know, it's just kind of like firefighters and things like that. They're long-term great employees, and I can tell you this did put a financial strain on them. She up to 3 days ago, she was still worrying about how she was going to have to pay this bill. And we thankfully got it done either yesterday or today.
It's not an isolated incident either, commissioners. We'll be discussing that.
That's good feedback we can use for open enrollment too. Especially if we can look and get an idea of how many people we have on that plan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, awesome. Anything else going on?
I appreciate your time.
Okay. Hopefully we have a calm July 4th weekend. You know, I know you guys will be out in force, so hopefully it's calm and I'm trying not to laugh when I say that, but I'm hoping it's truly calm, so.
Yeah, a lot of people with 10 fingers today.
Look forward to seeing everybody at the fair.
Boys Fair.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all be safe this weekend. Any more elected officials or department heads?
Just want to point out a couple of things. First of all, don't forget 4th of July parade in Jeffersonville. Also, too, the 4-H Fair begins on July 12th. Just a reminder about that. And also, too, we have the Monon Trail ribbon cutting on July 16th in the town of Borden at the community park at 10 a.m. So it'd be great to, got some officials from the state coming down for that. So it'd be great to have as much of attendance there as possible. Longest running trail that will be constructed in Indiana. It's 62 miles.
All right. Anything else? All right. Any other business? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a safe 4th of July week and weekend.